chin, and he steals the bird! How did that connect by Edgeway?
Welcome back to the Amazon European Masters. We're moving towards our third game of the day, and it's a big one. We've got Tricked Esports. They're going to be coming up against Movistar Riders. And Trouble, how much jungle diff are we going to see in this one?
I don't know, man. This is Maxlore versus Kai'Sa, and I remember it might have been 2020. I did an interview with Maxlore back then, and he told me that he has so much passion and fire for the game. His goal is to not win EU Masters, is to not get just back to the LEC or ULCS or whatever, is to be the best in the world. And it might sound like you could take it however you want from a player that is playing in the ERLs, but being there, having been into the EU LCS, not doing that great, fighting through the ERLs and still having that passion and drive still burning, still making you want to be the best, I think this is something that's extremely commendable. And I think Movistar Riders is a team that really does suit him because they do seem to have a lot of passion when they play on the Rift.
I mean, Maxlore, a lot of people have said this is one of the strongest players that we have at the European Masters of this split. He's been so important for his team, and we know how veteran he is. We know how strong he is as an individual, and when he's got a lot of talent surrounding him, it's just the recipe for success. On the other hand, Tricked, this is their debut in the European Masters, so it's massive that they got here, Academy Killers, NLC champions, you know all the storylines already. But their first game was... It was a harsh awakening, I think, to the level of play.
It was a big question mark. I feel like, so here's the question, right? A lot of people have been questioning, okay, Tricked are coming in as the first seed. They have the Academy Killers, you know, the BTXL that made finals in the previous EU Masters, almost took down K-Corp, and now they beat Fnatic Ryze in the finals as well, pretty convincingly, may I add. The question is, were the Academy teams struggling and Tricked took over, or was Tricked that much better than them? Because NLC has always been getting the Keck W in the chat, and then BTXL managed to close a lot of mouths with their previous run all the way to the finals. Now, the question is Tricked going to close a lot of mouths? Because they're saying that they just beat everyone because they were just weaker. Tricked, it's their time to show that they are stronger. I would say that, if anything, Tricked is a very one-dimensional way they want to play the game, and it's through DenVoksne. He is their major carry in this team, and when it comes to him not being the carry, you'll also see Madly pop off, but it's usually like on picks like the Na and the Wukong, and I wonder if this is like a Turkish thing, because Madly's Turkish and then Ahmed is Turkish, and I'm like, Nas and Wukongs, I've seen this before.
And here you can see Trick, they had a decent go of this first game. They were fighting as much as they could, but as you said, they have quite a one-dimensional style of play when it comes to winning. And you can see DenVoksne, he was just free-firing, but also not doing too much work. He can take down the Ziggs, but he can't really deal with anyone else. And he's such a talented individual player, and the Tricked roster has a lot of great players on it. The problem being that they just weren't able to show it in the first game. So now they're going to have to, and they're up against a very, very good Movistar Riders side.
Yeah, and they're playing through, like, they're just playing very aggressive on the side of Movistar Riders, and I'm just wondering, if you manage to shut down the top side of the map, can DenVoksne do it alone? Because we saw what happened in Tricked's first game, where they completely got choked down on every single lane, and then your marksman cannot do too much from there when everyone is playing in your face and you're just playing a Tristana. It's kind of hard to put down the damage compared to maybe playing Azaya, playing something like an Aphelios with a threat support. So we'll see here if Trick will manage to prioritize their bot lane, get something really strong, maybe aim towards that super late game.
And we're at Champ Select, of course, Movistar Riders making their way to the blue side, Tricked on the red to match their lovely raccoon mascot, and it's going to be Trundle that's removed first.
Yeah, Trundle, I mean, I'm not surprised seeing what happened with Hades in the previous game. I'm not surprised to see the Trundle being banned out here. Now, questions that come to mind are Thresh, Ryze, Varus. I feel like the typical bans you usually see, the LeBlanc as well. These are sort of like champions that you don't necessarily want to deal with too much. One pick that has gone through, I feel like both games we've watched, has been the Twisted Fate. It hasn't been banned out and yet has not been picked, which shows you like the difference between the LEC and the ERLs, how there's more of like niche peaks coming in for these teams' appearance.
Camille and the LeBlanc taken and removed, and it's stuff that we've seen taken off the table quite a lot recently. Fresh as well is going to be banned away, which was something that was picked and abused by Hantera in that last matchup. We're going to have to see if stuff like the Viego makes its way through, Lee Sin, Zhao. There's a lot of powerful options still left on the table.
Seeing Kai'Sa, seeing Maxlore, they're both leasing and joyous, I would say, so that could be a big point of contention. But of course, Viego, we can never forget. Zhao, we can also never forget, and they're both now up and available. The virus has slipped through the cracks, at least until now. So there's going to be a lot of picks up and available for the sort of Movistar riders to see what they want to pick first.
And what they're going to put priority on, what Trick don't want them to put priority on. It's the Lee Sin that is going to be taken off the table, so no enjoyment for Maxlore this game. But are they going to be able to pick up his jungle first rotation, or are they going to go for another power pick? Because Viego is around.
Viego, Ryze is open as well. Twisted Fate is open up and available. The LeBlanc has been banned away, so technically that lane counter doesn't exist at the moment. We'll see what Trick decide to go with. They're flashing the Twisted Fate. They're like, you want to match the global? We'll take the Ryze. You can pick up the Twisted Fate. The sort of Poulsen if you so wish. So Trick have first dibs onto the jungler right now. I wonder if they're going to go for the Zhao or the Viego. It seems like, yes, the Viego is one of the better picks if you want to be the playmaker for your team, but Kai'Sa usually is more of a facilitator jungler. So yeah, I would see him going more for the Zhao over the Viego, and paired up with Poulsen's Orianna, you've got a lot of potential for fights with the speed ups, with the shields.
Yeah, I like this. There's two facilitators who could also do a bit of work in their own right if they get going. You're not picking up Orianna and Zhao and going, oh, we've just picked up utility, because there's a lot of damage that can come out of these two picks as well. Now the question is, there's the Viego coming through from Maxlore, one of the better junglers and one of the better jungle options coming on through. So that's going to be a very exciting one to see. And where are they going to want to take their final pick of this first rotation?
I'm assuming you could potentially go for something like a bot lane right here and try to grab a marksman against the Orianna and the Zhao. That is doing pretty well. The Xayah right there that they showed is pretty good into that. The Ezreal is also pretty good into that.
Okay.
Blind Kennen it is for Marky in the top lane, especially against Zhao. This is raising a few question marks. The Gragas is open for Mudley if he wants to pick it up as well. Does really well into Kennen, knocks him out when he ults as well. So we'll see if Mudley might want to go for something like this.
Okay. The Irelia.
Zoning old into zoning old. Kennen doesn't stand a chance into the 1v1 if Irelia manages to take the trade correctly. So this is going to be very interesting. We're going to have to look towards the top side of the map, because I think Mudley and Marky are just going to go at it.
And we're at the second round of bounds. It's bot lane versus bot lane that hasn't been picked up, so stuff is going to be squeezed, you've got to imagine. And Kalista from Venzer.
Ashe probably, the Kalista, the Ashe, things that do have a lot of lane dominance. The Varus is one that comes to mind, there we go. And then we have the Leona as well, that has been a predominant support coming out, especially today. So yeah, I'm expecting Ashe to be out of the picture, and then you're gonna be left with things such as Tristana that DenVoksne is no stranger to, and you're also gonna have the likes of the Xayah with the Rakan.
I mean, there's the Aphelios as well, which is an option, but the support picks to facilitate that one are a little bit less. There's the Ashe that you mentioned before, so we'll have to see if they're going to take away a supporter, if they're going to really just be like, have fun on your B-tier marksman, because if Aphelios goes, then it is stuff like the Tristana that we mentioned.
I think you ban Rakan here and you sort of trade the Xayah with the Tristana, because if you're going to give tricked Rakan together with the Orianna, it's going to be an issue. They're going to allow the Rakan to go through, and I'm wondering if Lucky wants to go for it. Of course, the counter pick of either a Nautilus or a Leona is right there, but it is such a huge disruption in a team fight if you can get that big wombo combo with the shockwave from the Orianna.
Let's see what the priority is placed on, where the counter pick is going to go, and it looks like they're considering if they want to take this Tristana, and they're going to be locking it in. DenVoksne really likes this champ, loves free firing in the back line, but this allows maybe even the Xayah Rakan.
The Xayah Rakan, yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well right now. Maybe this is the deal. maybe thinking about Kai'Sa. You've got an all-in composition with like the Ryze, the Viego, the Kennen going in. Like Kai'Sa wouldn't necessarily be a bad pick right here, but you can definitely pick the Rakan with whatever marksman you want at this point, because you are sort of locking that hard engage and locking people in place. Something like a Leona or Rakan, I think, would completely solidify the fact that you have them, they go in, they lock in the enemy team, and then you run in with Kennen and run them over.
I would very much like the Rakan to be locked in here for duel, but he's going to be going for the Nautilus, which is a champion that he absolutely loves picking up, we've been told. So it's a champion that makes a lot of sense for him. It works with the composition, but it does give Trick the opportunity to... Do they need some disengage here?
Okay, I have a thought, but it's very dirty and disgusting.
Right.
And that's Yuumi.
Nah.
I know he doesn't do well into the Nautilus, or I was about to say, or Lulu. Yes! Okay, it's Yordle power in the bot lane. It's so strong when picks like Kai'Sa and Viego dive in, and I'm thinking, you've got the Irelia, you've got the Zhao, you've got the Tristana, you've got so many champions that just want to dive into their opponent's face, and having all these buffs coming in from something like a Yuumi or a Lulu are going to be massive. Yuumi, Ding Ding is getting buffed in the next patch, guys. Enjoy your solo queue. But Lulu right now is at a really good state, so I'm loving this coming from Trick. That takes away from the big engage we talked about from something like the Rakan or the Leona, but it gives so much power when you're sort of falling back. And right now, Trick has a lot of kiting potential, whilst Movistar riders just want to go all in.
You've upset me with that news that Yumi's getting. Just
yeah, she is.
Grow up, Riot. Come on. Like, we don't want to see that in our games. But we've got some really exciting team compositions here. And DenVoksne, they like to play around him. We've talked about this time and time again. The last game, he was the one that he was able to free fire, but he couldn't really do that much. So now they're like, okay, let's double down in our win condition here, and let's make him work alongside the Lulu. So keep your eyes towards this bot side, but of course the other lanes are going to be impactful and important as well. As we move on to the ref for the third time this evening, we've got Movistar Riders on the blue side taking on Tricked on the red.
Whew, okay. I was expecting the Yuumi or the Lulu. It is the Lulu, it's the Yordle power taking over the map down the bot lane again. A champion that buffs other champions, especially when you have things such as the Irelia and the Zhao and the Tristana on the Rift, is going to be insanely useful. The Ardent Senses coming in, the heals coming in from the shield from Lucky are going to be huge. Now, the only drawback here is that you're playing against a Kai'Sa Nautilus lane. If the hook lands, the trade can come out really, really quickly. So the DenVoksne here needs to be very careful. We know how wide the anchor can go. Ooh, not wide enough because he's a Yordle.
A little Yordle gets to run away. Tristana's only got short legs, but it doesn't matter. Nautilus isn't able to catch this one, but Venzer actually might catch them out in the bush. We'll be able to stop the Ooh. Huh? Oh, the Guardian proc, I guess. Stop. That was... Huh. Okay.
All right, so I really like what Marky is doing right there. He's taking control of the middle bush, and he's going to make sure that whenever Madly steps into the lane will be fixed for himself. You see that Madly is also helping leash red buff on the top of the map to allow for all that priority to come through bot. And knowing how Lulu's a ranged champion and Tristana also has the passive explosion, this lane usually pushes faster and has a bunch of priority. This is where Taxa wants to play through. This is why he started from the top side of the map to go towards the Yordles, make sure he secures the Scuttlecraft towards the bot side of the map to keep the Tristana safe.
It works for the comp, it works for the way that the team likes to play. It's a good decision-making tool all around. Meanwhile, for Maxlore is going the opposite direction. Reckon he wants to make something happen top.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. Taxer moving bot, Maxlore moving top side of the map. Level 6, we're looking at top side because both Madly... Okay, so hear me out, right?
Okay.
There's a lot of times that people are like, when Irelia goes in with her ult, she needs to kill someone. But you don't necessarily have to do that if you zone them away with the ultimate, because obviously they can't walk in, because then they're going to get engaged upon. So having Marky walk in with his ult and then Madly puts his right on top, it sort of stops more members from coming in. So I know this sounds a little bit silly because you're like, Irelia wants to fight, Irelia wants to kill, but the ultimate is just going to be so important for Madly to be placed at the correct position so the rest of Movistar riders cannot dive in. This is why I said that there's also a lot of potential for a lot of fallback on the sort of Trick. You have the R from the Zhao, you've got the ball and the shockwave from the Orianna, you've got all the peeling tools coming in from Lulu and an exhaust from the Tristana. So Trick know exactly that Movistar riders want to dive in, and they've got all the tools to stop them. It just matters who is faster. Is Movistar riders going to be able to get the pick early on and then force Trick into a 4v5 that they can't win, or is Trick going to be able to dissuade any of the engages with their peeling tools?
We'll have to see which one of these two teams can do that. And DenVoksne putting some damage down onto DuaLL. A decent chunk going to be taken off the Nautilus. And this is the power that the Lulu can provide to the Tristana, even in the early game.
Absolutely. We said that they are extremely squishy, both of them, and that's the truth, but having two ranged champions against the Nautilus is going to hurt the Nautilus quite a bit. Now, Maxlore is going to be moving towards the bottom of the map right now to clear his golems, and TRC is exactly going to do the same. If we want to take the nitty-gritty, yes, Maxlore is a little bit ahead right here from TRC. TRC is just going to start his golems, and Maxlore has almost finished them up. So we're going to have to take a look and see where they're going to want to end up. Is Maxlore going to want to move towards the top side of the map? Because you see that the Irelia is pushing in waves. I don't know if the waves have been stacked.
Oh
my god, the pain!
Marky, but there's the pain coming down onto DuaLL. He was one to engage, but now DenVoksne has to jump away. So much damage going on to Lawless. First blood goes to Lucky as Maxlore is stepping up. But Tricked are already in for a retreat, so they should be okay. Lucky takes a couple more autos, but Venzer doesn't want to flash forward to try and grab the kill.
And you see the power right there of the buffs from Lulu, of the denial with the polymorph. Maxlore wants to dive. There is a wave crashing in, but I feel like he's gone through the woods. Look at all the red dots on the bot side of the river. Tricks know exactly what's going to happen. They're pulling to piece.
Lucky's trying to get away, but probably won't be able to. Maxlore is chasing on, but DenVoksne dives forward. Can't get a kill onto Venzer, but the explosion will come through. Lucky's actually surviving for a second longer as Maxlore will be able to secure the kill eventually. TRC now chasing on towards the Viego, who, of course, is going to be able to pick up and will actually go towards trying to get the execute. But TRC flashing forward with the spear secures the double kill for himself as Madly chases Marky away.
That was so sleek from TRC right there to make sure that the kill doesn't go to the Lulu. Catches two for himself. I feel like the teleport was a little bit late coming in from Poulsen, because you see that they pull the teleport right there. Poulsen would have to ditch his wave completely, but he chooses to take the few minions that were left there and then TP into the fight. He is a little bit late. I don't even know if he got an assist from teleporting in, so we're gonna have to wait to see. And that from TRC was just beautiful. Right before the spear lands, he just flashes forward to extend the range on it. That was beautiful. And Poulsen apparently did get one assist for himself, but I thought had he been there, 2 seconds earlier, had he cast his teleport the same time as the Ryze, I feel we could have probably looking at a different fight.
And I mean, it's still a decent play for Tricked there. It's not the end of all things, but as you say, it could have been pretty different if he had been able to turn up a couple of seconds earlier. Dragon on the map. It's Cloud to start. Production have heard us and know that we don't want Cloud Soul. So
thank you, Production, since you're the ones controlling.
You're the ones who decide which dragons we get, apparently. I'm into it. I like this narrative. And the Rift Tower is going to be up in a minute and a half.
Did they give you PayPal?
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. My DM is just full of PayPal links out this.
Nice,
so
nice.
That's fine. I'm into it, though, but are either of these teams much preferred in these early kind of Dragon/First Herald exchanges?
I mean, they're both created to fight, right? You've got Movistar riders, which have the Kennen really big team fight potential, but you also have the side lane pressure and the assassination pressure, one with the Ryze and one with the Kai'Sa ultimate. We've seen a lot of marksmen using the Kai'Sa, sort of how a Nocturne would be used, right? To dive into a side lane and punish someone that overextends. And as you can see right here, Marky is stacking up a wave that's going to push into Madly, and there is no response because Maxlore is always the bottom of the map, and now Marky has to crash his wave unless he wants Madly to sort of keep it frozen right then. Marky could be in trouble. He's one level up, and Madly gonna go choke, yeah.
He's okay, it's fine.
But again, look at his wave. The wave is just gonna stay at the exact same position, which means Marky is gonna have to be extremely careful walking up, because Madly also has that non-magic mantle, I think it's called, if I remember correctly. So he's going to be stacking some resistances early on, which end could be something that would favor a build for Irelia. Later on, having 2 AP damage dealers from the side of Movistar riders. So far, so good. Oh, here we go.
Ooh, a nice flash from Marky. Doesn't get stunned up, trying to use that his fancy footwork, and the Maelstrom will maybe get him away. Gets back onto tower, madly unable to grab the kill. A decent exchange, but no one goes down.
Again, you see, because the wave was at that position, Marky needed to do something to try and crash it, and madly instantly will fall onto him. Now they want to take the fight.
Tries to get onto XKenzuke. He's going to be forced to flash over the wall, and
everyone's
it's
here
to pick up the Rift Herald. All 10 members of the game are around the neighborhood, and they want to fight for this objective. He's going to be able to secure it. Movistar Riders have the perimeter, and they go towards Taxa. Can they get the kill? The flash smite has been used. It's going to be stolen away. It was Marky who secured it. He's going to get the shutdown as well. Madly's going to go down as Tricks are forced into the pit. Do their flashes to get out? Double kill going over to Kai'Sa. Nautilus picks up another disaster for Tricks as Movistar steal the objective with 4.
Absolutely disastrous for Trick right here, and Movistar Riders pull the trigger. They know there's no ultimate for the Zhao. They know that the bot lane from Trick are level 5, and look at this, even though they don't have Kennen ultimate, they're the ones moving in. But if you look at the Kai'Sa, she has ult, she can go in, and straight after this last kill, I think the Nautilus will level up. There you go. Exactly, from mid, managed to pull down a really great ultimate, and the Ryze seals the deal right there with the Rune Prison. Really nice stuff right there from Movistar Riders. They knew that a bunch of key ultimates were down. Had the Tristana been 6, had the Lulu been 6, we could have potentially been talking about a different fight, but they weren't, and Movistar Riders knew that, and now they want to dive madly.
Now they want to get on top of the Irelia. The flash is used, actually behind the minion, stops the anchor. Lucky here to provide a little bit of support, and Madly actually going a little bit aggressive, but can't hugely follow up, even with DenVoksne moving in as well. So once again, no one going down.
Still not level 6 for that Lulu. I think Lucky has fallen quite behind in levels right here, trying to chase, Taxa around the map, trying to facilitate for his team. Very crucially, Gale Force already purchased 10 minutes into the game. That Kai'Sa is absolutely massive. That Kai'Sa right now is your win con. You play around Venzer, and remember what we said about the Kai'Sa. She plays the role of a Nocturne. You get some CC on the side lane, suddenly you see another member from Movistar Riders jumping in, and this is going to be the Kai'Sa.
DenVoksne just eats the Maelstrom and gets the shield from Lucky. Doesn't even need the wild growth in that situation. And now you can see on the bot side, Madly could be in a heap of trouble. Nice attempt at a stun, but it's not going to come through. Damage coming on down onto the Irelia, and he's going to be cut down. It's XKenzuke securing the kill.
So well played again from Movistar Riders. They're just not letting go of the pedal right there. They're just going in. They're not dropping anything on the map either, because Poulsen was not fast enough to push in that wave. XKenzuke is going to be back just in time, and that is another kill going to their favor. 2,500 gold 11 minutes in is a big deal. They also have the Thirst Dragon. Minute and a half gives them much more time to get that first mythic up and available. I think Maxlore should have his Sandra in his pocket right now. I feel like he's just wanting to pop in the Herald in the mid lane, try to get some more plates down, then he's gonna back for the Sandra and try to fight for Dragon, which is something that Trick cannot defend because they don't have theirs yet.
It's going to be a charge, it's going to be some plates, and it's going to be a nice injection for Movistar, picking themselves up a 2,500 gold lead at the 12-minute mark. It's a decent start for them, and they've been playing pretty well in these early stages. Trick holding on and have themselves, of course, they've got options into the late game, but DenVoksne needs to be a little bit careful he doesn't get
He's alone?
He's got people coming. Lulu and Zhao, they're turning up. It's okay. He gets out.
So Venzer right now, he's playing, both him and DuaLL are playing very respectfully down the bot side of the map. They knew that probably Zhao was hanging around, and something that I have to commend Trick for is their vision. Something I don't want to commend them for is them playing around it. Because again, that fight up in the Rift Herald, even though we saw that they were the first there, they had the numbers advantage. The levels did not favor them, and they ended up losing the fight. Now, Taxa has been trying to find these players. He successfully has found 2 out of 3, but it's just not enough yet. And the Gale Force has been purchased. The Sandra that we mentioned has been purchased, and they're like literally sprinting it from Trick towards the side of the bot, because if they shut down Venzer, they can take the fight.
But Venzer currently is the one trying to get onto DenVoksne. Damage coming through, he's going to dive forward, but it's very, very unsafe to do so, and he has to scarper away. DenVoksne gets away, F1 from Tricked gets away, the snipe will land, but it's only on Kai'Sa, and it looks like this fight might have petered out.
That's it. Sandra just arrived on the side of Maxlore. Venzer in there and around. He didn't end up going down. That was 4 members sprinting it down river trying to shut down that Kai'Sa, and they were just not successful because he just survived for so long. The exhaust kept him alive. The Nautilus peeling kept him alive. And even though there were 4 members going down, only DenVoksne was actually there to do any damage, because the second that Trick saw the TP, everyone pieced out.
I can respect it. You don't want to be getting involved in a fight that you might not be able to win. So, smart decision.
Absolutely. 2 dragons now, though, to the side of Movistar, and that's an Ocean Drake coming up, which means it's going to be an Ocean Soul, and it's a big point of contention for a lot of teams. Ocean Souls usually dictate how a game will go. Usually the team that does end up gathering that soul wins the game as well. There's just too much healing coming out of it, in and out of the fights, and so far, looking across the board, most mythics have been completed for the side of Movistar, so they can continuously press to take fights onto the map, because Strict are just lacking damage and defenses at this point.
And they're just need to find their way back into this game a little bit. Again, they're not too far gone. This isn't the same situation that we've maybe had in the first couple of games. I think Tricked are definitely in a situation where they can find their way back, and it's not wild to see them doing so. They've got a lot of decent late game tools. They've got a lot of people who are performing pretty well. But for Movistar, what do we want to see from them next? Is it just going towards this second Herald and picking it up? Or actually, Venzer in a lot of trouble here. Going to take a decent couple of shots, but DenVoksne, they probably didn't have enough of killing blow.
That was a little bit overzealous, because Venzer still has ult and it's sealed. He still has his flash available, and then DenVoksne just used his flash, meaning he's not going to have it for the next fight. So you see how Tricked are so desperate to make something going on, to create an opportunity for themselves on the map, and it's again through the back of DenVoksne. You don't want to see him again charging up when it's way too late into the game and he can't do much. They're trying to use his Tristana now that the Kraken has been completed. But DuaLL is going in.
Very brave engage 3v2. DuaLL's going to go down instantly to DenVoksne, and Venzer will be able to use the flash and shield that he didn't burn earlier to get out of this fight. Kai'Sa takes the last shot, but mid lane, they're going to be able to drop that second Herald. They're going to be able to get the tower. But I don't know what the decision-making was there.
My eyes were going so fast around the map because I was trying to figure out if XKenzuke was coming down, if Marky was TPing, if a TP was up, if Maxlore was down there, and none of these things were actually true. But usually when you'll see a dive on the other side of the map, usually the other team replies, and Madly has not backed off of this tower yet. The second you see XKenzuke, you should have already started running, but Madly wants to go in.
Madly not going to be able to survive too much. You've got to imagine it's a decent maelstrom coming down onto Poulsen, who teleported through, but he might have just teleported to his own death. Going to be cut down for the double kill. Maxlore securing that one. Very nice play from Movistar Riders.
Oof, Madly can just not survive that. They've got their mythic items. You're getting locked down. There's so much to see between the Ryze and the Viego and the Kennen. You just cannot get away. And Poulsen, again, slightly too late to the play. Had he been there early on, had he put down the shield, had he put down the shockwave, which he didn't even use in that instance, maybe it would have been a different situation. But I feel like Tricked are falling behind the play, especially on the top side of the map. They're trying to make plays with DenVoksne. Yes, it worked, but right here, instant TP, cancel channeling right there. I'll take this one back, but the TP is instantly into the Kennen ultimate. He gets stunned. He can't get the shield down. The shockwave wouldn't have done much. XKenzuke survives with 1 HP because he's playing literally on the edge of that tower shot, and 2 kills down from Movistar again, and the gold lead just keeps expanding. 4K. They've got really strong skirmishes right now. Protobelt completed. Morello completed for Marky. I mean, the small component, anyway, completed. The Oblivion Orb, there you go. Sandra completed. I see a very scary Nidus Large Rod in XKenzuke's inventory. Gale Force and Pickaxe. If you look on the other side for Trick, they have just about completed their mythic items.
It's not going to be a good time for Trick to fight, but at this point in the game, do they have a good time to fight?
I think this one would be it. We mentioned again, when you just have completed your mythic item, it would probably be a good time to fight because the opponent team wouldn't have 2 items yet, they would have 1.5. So definitely you don't want to fight them on the 2-item power spike, you want to fight them on the in-between, which is where Movistar Riders is right now. The only problem is because Movistar Riders have taken down mid lane tier 2 as well, there's just not enough vision for Trick to move inside the jungle and try to stop the dragon stacking. And you see how the entire Movistar Riders know that, and they're just luring into the jungle. There is literally a ward in every single crevice of that bot lane quadrant of the jungle from Kai'Sa.
And now the dragons spawning up first of the oceans, and as you said, this could be very impactful. It looks like Movistar are going to take it pretty quickly. I don't know if Trick can do anything about it, but it's going to be soul point in 5 minutes, and they have to do something about that.
They just have to channel their inner Elsa and just let this one go, because there's no point losing even more members and potentially even threatening more stuff on the map. Like the only 2 outer towers that they have left, a lot of setup on Baron, maybe from the sort of Movistar, which is spawning in 1 minute and 20 seconds. Trick have a really, really good team fighting composition to kite backwards, but they have not yet been able to put it into full effect because the top lane fell behind, because mid lane fell behind, and the only one trying for proactive plays is again that bot lane with DenVoksne. But then losing that playmaking ability from Lucky, having him on Lulu, yes, benefits a team when you can play as 5. So we have yet to see Trick play as 5 because they can just not move into any objective due to their lack of vision.
And it's... The problem is, though, they can step back and allow objectives to go down there, but now every objective is going to be massive. They do not have that many towers. They can't afford to lose a Baron. They can't afford to lose a Dragon Soul either, and they can't really afford to lose Madly, but he's already gone. Venzer secures the kill there. It's going from bad to worse.
Oh, no. Remember what we talked about, the Kai'Sa working sort of as a Nocturne? I think this is going to be fine because Lucky is around and he has exhaust and the heal is available and all the ults are available, but Marky's strong.
Oh, there's the Maelstrom. The jump's actually okay, and DenVoksne will be able to get away, but it's looking very dangerous.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I think it's fine trading an ult for nothing, technically, right there. Again, DenVoksne and Lucky have been trying to put some pressure on the bot side of the map. But Movistar, we said that instantly they could pull the trigger on that 20-minute Baron. You're going to have Marky straight up TPing in. I don't even know if Trick know that. Kai'Sa might check it out, but it's going to be too little too late.
And it could be secured. It's going to be taken away by Maxlore. Movistar Riders, Baron on 5.
20-minute Baron onto a team that wants to dive in. Okay, their seeding is not the best because they've got 2 melee champions and 3 extremely short range champions with the Kai'Sa, the Ryze, and the Kennen. But if they manage to stack in the waves together with the Baron buff, they can definitely try to pull out the dive. And this is where the Trick composition shines, right? Because we said what they do well is peel. So you definitely don't want to 50-50 it and try to dive this composition. So what you need to do is take it through your side lanes, push with the Baron buff, create more vision pockets for yourself into Trick's jungle, and the second in 2 minutes that this Ocean Soul comes up from Movistar Riders, this is where you put the nail to the coffin.
I'm just very scared of Venzer in this game right now. That Baron buff is doing absolutely wonders for the Kai'Sa, giving that extra damage on the dive through. The Collector picked up as well, so that's even more execution ability. And it looks like Movistar Riders, they're not taking their foot off the pedal even remotely, and there's not that much that they need to take outside of the base in order to crack open and start threatening inhibitors, right?
So this is the hard part, right? Because we mentioned that they can't necessarily, as you mentioned as well, they can't go for the inhibitor right now. Short range, they need to make picks. If Trick don't give them a pick, then it's going to be kind of grim. And the fact that right now Movistar Riders are not taking control of the mid and bot side of the map. Oh, there we go, talking about picks.
The damage is coming on through. Kai'Sa breaks up the fight, and actually a decent number of knockups. DenVoksne is free firing, and they get the first kill of the fight. The teleport coming in behind from Orianna. Remember, Kennen isn't here. Marky doesn't have teleport, so he can't become involved in this fight if there is any kind of re-engage. And it looks like Tricks are considering trying to force something through. They want to get the damage down, but DenVoksne being rooted means that he's going to have to dive forward to try and get onto Kenzuke and onto Maxlore. But he decides against and walks away.
Yeah, frontline Tristana is not the best, but he does have his flash, he does have his exhaust, and he has his ultimate available. Again, we mentioned a dive would not be ideal for the set of Movistar riders. There's too much peeling on the set of Tricked, and they took that advantage that Tricked has right there, and they punished. They took down the support, and they stopped the siege for the moment. 30 seconds though, and Tricked need to move really fast. They have two Yordles, really short legs, but there's no wards yet from the set of Movistar, and they know that because Marky was playing towards the bot side and the entirety of Movistar riders were playing top side. So they know that Movistar do not have any vision inside that quadrant of the jungle, and Tricked could just slide their way in.
Tricked are moving down towards that bot side, as you can see, and they're going to be contesting this one. They're coming off the back of a team fight win. Asterisk, it wasn't huge, but we'll count it. But now they need to get one without their towers in support, without their base being right there, because they need to deny this dragon. Tax has gone on through. He's taken half his health bar already on the backline. The maelstrom is massive. It stuns one. It takes down another as the fight kicks off in earnest. Maxlore is trying to get resets. Double kill on the Viego to chase away madly, and Poulsen Venzer's there as well. XKenzuke takes down a DenVoksne, and you know what? That's probably going to be Dragon Soul, but we're not done yet, as Madly's caught out. Maxlore cannot find the finishing blow just yet, but there it is. An easy kill for Venzer, and there goes the Ocean Soul.
And when you're rushing an objective like this, trying to stop Movistar from taking it, Marky has all the fog of war in the world to work with. He finds a fantastic flank right there, and Poulsen, one way or the other, you are gonna go down, buddy, and it's just a matter of who's gonna take the kill, and unstoppable for Venzer too. So have your eyes on that small rat yodel on the bot side of the map or not, because this is the vision that Tricked have to work with. You need to think that Kennen is somewhere around there. Beautiful flank from Marky, gets 3 members. Inside these 3 members were 2 carries and the Lulu from the side of Tricked, and they get instantly deleted. Really, really nice stuff from Movistar riders. They're working with that fog of war, they're working with the vision, and so far they have been able to completely shut down Tricked and their plans.
It's been really smart League of Legends. They've got themselves this Ocean Soul now, which is going to make their lives so much easier. There's 5 minutes on that Elder Dragon. I don't know if this game's going to go that long, if we've got anything to go by from our first 2 games today. And Movistar riders, yes, they only took 1 tower off that Baron, but I think it was definitely worth to grab themselves that big team fight win. Now they're going to look for another one, as well as Venzer dives on forward. So much damage onto Lucky. Had to hold himself, but it's not going to matter as he falls. And Movistar riders again take a pick and can take control of this game.
I mean, it's just not a surprise anymore. At this point, they're brute forcing the way in. They're almost 10k gold ahead. They've got their Ocean Soul, so they can manage to get and engage, try to fight. Even if it's scrappy, they can head back. They're gonna get healed up. But right now, they're just brute forcing their way into the base. You see that triple auto attack from Venzer means 50% of DenVoksne's HP right there, and they're just gonna take that top inhib. I wouldn't be surprised if they even turned around and tried to push the mid lane wave and take the mid lane inhibitor as well. But Poulsen is just playing party pooper right there, destroying the mid lane wave for Movistar riders, which will delay maybe that mid lane inhibitor going down just a bit.
Oh, DuaLL actually in a lot of trouble. DenVoksne is trying to put the damage down and will be able to secure the kill. It's only the support being picked up for Tricked, so they'll take what they can get.
Yeah, anything, because the Baron is spawning right now, so Tricked will take any single fight if they can eliminate at least 1 member from the set of Movistar riders. And even with 10k, I don't know if you want to take the risk, but Tricked are they going to go themselves? There's no way. There's no way you can do that. I mean, being stuck into a Baron pit with a Kennen around and a Ryze, I don't think that would be a good choice, but they're trying to get as much vision for themselves as possible. I think especially towards the top side of Tax's Quadrant jungle, you really need the vision to try and go towards that Baron, maybe look for a miracle still with a shockwave or something, or maybe Taxa diving in there, because there's not much that can turn this game around at this point for the sort of Tricked. There are no more towers to dive unless it's just these 2 left in the bot side of the map for Tricked. There's just 1 inhibitor that's naked in the middle, 1 inhibitor that's fallen in the top side of the map. and that's the two you can work with from Movistar Riders. These are enough. These two lanes are enough to be constantly pushing in, but Movistar Riders want to take every single outer tower there is, deprive all vision off of Tricked, and try to choke them away, possibly with the next Baron. And in 2 minutes, Tricked are going to have to come out because there's also an Elder spawning.
They're going to have to fight over something. It's where they decide to make their last stand. They're clearing out this Baron, trying to give themselves as much of an advantage around it as possible, but it doesn't help them on red side, so it becomes even more risky for them to step out and clear vision in the pit and in front of the pit. And for Movistar Riders, they don't have that problem, and they're so far ahead, they probably wouldn't care even if the situation was reversed, which it is at Dragon in a couple of minutes' time. Whether Movistar Riders are going to let the game go that long, whether Tricked are going to be able to hold out that long, is another question. But Movistar, they're just gonna make all that hard work for naught as they take away all of the vision inside this Baron pit.
The important thing is to have some vision for Tricked inside their jungle, which is being deprived right now. Movistar Riders are literally brute forcing themselves in there because they're 10k gold ahead. If anyone shows up, they just instantly die. They find the Tristana at the top of the map.
Oh my word, we've got bamboozled. The damage coming through. The Kennen is also putting in a lot of work onto the Irelia on the bottom of your screen there. No kills in either fight. And there's me. Hello. You just see me at the end there. But Movistar Riders, they take the advantages. No kills picked up, but they move towards the Baron.
Yep, absolutely. You see that the two crucial ultimates have gone completely, but Taxer has been caught in the jungle.
Yeah, he's been knocked up by the Nautilus as well. A decent amount of damage is coming through, but he's able to mitigate a lot of it. Teleport into the middle of the fight now from the Irelia, who might look to dive on forward, but Madly actually just going to use that teleport to disengage as Tricked don't want to continue.
They're pinging the Kennen, but they know that Marky has no ultimate up and available right now. If there was a time for you to move in there, that would be it. And Tricked have pulled their fingers off the trigger, and now they're going to get punished for it.
They're going to lose this Baron. There's no way to steal it. It's been secured once again by Maxlore as Tricked have found themselves in a choke, and that's not where you want to be fighting right now. Poulsen getting taken so low, doesn't manage to go down. Will in the end, as Venzer dives on forward, grabs a couple and gets away. Madly going golden, but will be deleted, and Tricked are being run off the rift. DenVoksne and Lucky managed to survive, but once again, those short legs probably won't save them as XKenzuke teleported through. DenVoksne sniped away. Lucky might be able to survive as the Ryze will just keep her out of base. Lulu's got no recourse. Tricked have no chance. And it's going to be the Nexus explosion showing that Movistar Riders have secured themselves a second win.
Wow. And the Spanish teams, oh wait, hold on guys a minute, we need the ace first. There you go. Congratulations Movistar Riders, that was a very, very, very decisive victory. I feel like they knew exactly what they needed to do. They needed to leverage the early game scenario. They need to leverage the fact that the Venzer could dive into another lane. They could leverage the fact that they have the semi-global with the Ryze, and they did just that. They got Venzer ahead. They leveraged the fact that they had a level 6 Kai'Sa over a level 5 Tristana in that 5v5 towards the top side of the map. They had the experience. They had the ultimates up there. They took the fight, which completely blew that game away from Tricked. And even though you saw that DenVoksne was trying to make plays, again, it is just obvious that you're playing for that Tristana. The Lulu pick, obvious you're playing for that Tristana. And they're going to have to come up with something. If you want to play towards bot lane, you're going to have to at least have the other side of your map not dying 3 or 4 times, because that was quite disastrous having their earlier fall behind so much.
There wasn't hugely a solution. They couldn't really find a way to break through and ever really do very much. They held on longer than the other two teams that have lost out in these first 3 games, but it wasn't a massive competition. We've had 3 pretty one-sided games. We're going to talk you through that 3rd game of the day in a couple of minutes, so don't go anywhere. We'll see you then.
He's gonna flash in, and he steals the Baron. How does that connect by entering?
Fini! As EU Masters Champions!
Hello and welcome back to the Amazon European Masters. I'm still Viperoon, still joined by Trouble as we're going to be breaking down that third game of the day. Tricks again weren't really up to speed, but goodness me, well, there are a couple of players that really were.
I felt like it was a little bit confusing because they picked a bot lane with a Tristana Lulu, and I was assuming that Zinza would want to play through there. And then they had an Irelia in the top side that got completely abused for being left all alone. So I felt like the two sides of the coin were both reflected into the Rift, where they both wanted attention in the bot, but they also wanted attention on the top side of the map for Tricked, and it just didn't happen. The Irelia fell behind, being dived continuously. Then the bot lane got completely stomped in the early game by being dived. A few teleports were a little bit late, and I felt like Movistar Riders read exactly the play that Tricked wanted to go with. They wanted to get DenVoksne ahead, they wanted to fight, but this right here solidified the loss for Tricked. Level 6 Kai'Sa versus level 5 Tristana, and right after this death, duel on the Nautilus levels up as well, make sure that he puts the ultimate down to keep the rest of the members of Tricked in place. And right here, Tricked, for a desperation play, trying to steal the soul away, completely disregard where Marky is. Beautiful ultimate by the Kennen in the back line, and they just absolutely destroyed them.
And I mean, this is the thing that we talked about, right? Tricks have looked so good in the NLC this split, but they are fairly one-dimensional in the way that they like to win games, and it seems like, at least in this game, Movistar Riders knew exactly how to deal with that. And I mean, that's taking nothing away from Movistar. They played super smart, super clean League of Legends. Maxlore looked monstrous, and I mean, he proved, again, it wasn't as big as the Jungle Diffie in the first two games. I would imagine you agree, but Maxlore looks super, super good.
Yeah, Maxlore definitely looks super good, and it wasn't that huge and that obvious Jungle Diffie. I think it was more of a team effort on this one. My God, you can tell that this Kennen really bullied the Irelia around. Madly didn't manage to find the 1v1s. Every time you would see the Irelia pounce onto the Kennen had to back off. There were a couple of flashes burnt as well for Marky, but then when he found these very crucial team fights, which is what the Kennen is picked for, the plan all came to fruition. And GG, both the Spanish teams are sitting on 2-0.
It's been a very good day for the Spanish teams. It's been, again, not great for the NLC. The past few matches haven't gone their way, but Georgia, that's all that we've got time for here, but there's plenty more League of Legends. It's going to be Viperoon and Orcs taking you through the 4th, 5th, and 6th games. But more importantly, during the break, we're going to be having our Warner song of the day. It's Paper Planes, so jam out. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Banger.